Hello. Welcome everyone to the next lecture of data analytics using Excel. In this lecture, we'll be continuing from the past three lectures. We'll be building on the project. I am Dhruv. If you have any doubts, you can contact me at any time. In this lecture, we'll be extensively working with if statements, and if I have to use a specific, let's say, technical word, we'll be using the technique of nested if statements. Whenever we have multiple statements, how we can club all of them together into one particular formula to get the desired result that we want. Unlike how we were doing at the end of the last lecture. Now, I want you to be really careful in this lecture and first see the entire formula that I'm writing, because it might seem a little complex to you, and most of the students might just drop the plan of working ahead with this lecture just because the entire formula is so complex. But if you will be able to break it down in your head and understand how the formula is built, is being built from the very foundations, then you'll be able to get a very good grasp. And why am I actually using such a complex formula for you? It's not even a very complex formula, but mediocre or intermediate complex formula, is because when you are actually going to work in a corporate setup, you will be using it extensively. You will be using such formulas very extensively, and you need to know how to work around with such complicated formulas in the first place. So let's just go ahead. Please be very focused for this entire lecture. If you have any doubts, contact me. I will love to help all of you. And after you are done with watching this entire lecture, you have understood what is exactly happening. First understand what is happening. If you can understand that, then try to implement it in your own Google workbooks. So let's dive into it. If you can see my screen now, now this is the formula that I have written. There's first if, second if, third if, fourth if, and that's it, right? Now forget this part first. Let's try to break down what is happening between these, because this seems to be very, very similar. We are having similar arguments all the time. You can see it here, you can see it here. Let's try to break this particular part down first. Okay, I have to zoom out a little, it's too zoomed in. Yep. So the first if statement that I have written is if C4 contains no information, right? So what I'm saying is C4 is not equal to empty. It is not empty. If that is the case, then give me C4. So if there is any relevant information in cell C44, then give me C44. If not, that is if again, check C43 with the same condition. Check if C43 is empty or not. If it is not empty, that it is true statement, then give me C43. And if C43 is also not empty, then check the same for 42. If C42, that is this particular cell, is not empty, then give me C42. Otherwise, give me C41. So now you might be very confused of what exactly I'm doing. This is essential because we have so many number of, let's say, these stickers. Sometimes we have information in this cell and sometimes we have it in this. Otherwise, sometimes in this and otherwise sometimes in this. You have a prime example that information is present only in this cell, and then sometimes it's in this particular cell, and then it's this row, and then again this row. So the row where we have all the information varies a lot, and that's why we need to create a very dynamic function that helps us out to do all of it very easily, right? So that's why what I'm trying to check here is check C44. If it is empty, then give me next one. Check this. If this is empty, then give me next one. If this is empty, then check this one. And then I'm stopping, because I know for a fact this entire thing will only go for 2 to 4 rows only. And that's why I've written for like only 4 rows. If it will go beyond, then I will actually write it again. I will have a check after this if everything is working fine or not, right? So for now, this is exactly that you had to do. We are checking the condition on each and every cell, 44, 43, 42 and 41, 4 cells, and then we are getting the last cell is 41. And if let's say I'll delete this particular part first, the formula will work just the way it is working right now. I just have to write equal to here. The only problem that you might face is this one, that the dates will also be taken like that, right? So just remember that each and every date that we have in Google Forms or even Excel, it can be written as a particular date, and it actually is giving me the last date here. It is this one, and we do not want that to happen. We want only the closing price of each and every ticker, and that's why I've written a formula in the beginning of this, that if, let's check, if this is equal to empty, then use this formula and check the closing price. Otherwise, give me empty, right? So if I'll go to this cell, what will happen is this cell is not empty now. So it will not take the true argument and it will directly go to the false one, that okay, this argument is not true, that this entire cell of NSE HDFC is not empty, something is there, and that's why I'll give you empty here. That is the cell in the beginning. That's why I have taken the next cell instead of the first one. So you need to try it out, and then only you will be able to understand this properly. Otherwise you will not be able to. I prefer this the most complex part of the video that you really need to go through again if you really want to. So C44, check it, otherwise give me C44, and if C43, if it is not empty, then give me 43. If C43 is empty, then check 42. If C42 is empty, then give me C44. Right, click on enter. There is an error here. I think I changed something as I write in the code. Yeah, now it's fine. I think something in my Excel might be there. So I'm actually going to use my arrows which are present here. I'm using Control D. I'll actually yep, because we are taking the next cell, that's why we want all the information, that's why we need this to be empty. We'll keep this as X, and let's say there was no data in all of these. This entire thing was empty. What I will do, Control Shift right arrow, and I will actually select everything and do Control R, so that I have information in each and every cell. And you can look at it right now in front of you. I have information in each and every cell here. You might have to delete this X to make sure you're getting data for Gokul Agro as well. Now I'm only taking closing price here, right? Just remember that I'm only taking closing price here. Now what do I mean by creating the dynamic sheet? Something which I was emphasizing on like a lot. Now if I want to take data of, let's say I had some other companies here, right? Now my sheet is completely done. I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to write the Google Finance code again and again, and I don't even have to write these if statements again. So let's say I could just copy paste these stickers just the way I did for 2023. Everything else is already done. It will take some other ticker instead. So let's say instead of writing JBM, right, you can see the information just got changed in front of you. There's no problem with the code now, right? So for Reliance, it took a minute. And let's say I want the last year. Okay, some issue happened, and okay. So now it will take my Google Sheet to respond in some time, because I accidentally gave a code which shouldn't have been that. I deleted a cell. There is a problem with my keyboard, I guess. 2023. Now it is working. And then I have to take month, then 31st, and then 2023. And you can see all the information is being loaded in front of you now. There was some error from my end. I'm really sorry for that. Over data in C45. Yep. So what is telling me is the concern that they face in this particular row, that it might overwrite data here. So we'll actually cut it using Control X, and we'll actually go a little low so that we can give enough space for information to be loaded here properly. So it will again write information C50. So we need to cut it again. I'll just cut it for, let's say, 10 more rows. I'm going to 90. Yep, and now all the information is being shown to you. So let's say if I have any information, like let's say I have X here, and let's say I have X here. Now there won't be any issue. I can change it, but you can see it is actually going to overwrite the data in cell C3, and this is exactly what we do not want, right? So that is why when we actually had data in these rows, it actually had to take all of these columns. Instead of only 40, now it was like way more, and that's why we actually had to shift it a little low, right? So we'll actually do Control X here, and we'll paste it right here, so that now we have all the information with us. And you can see it is taking C44 again. We have to change it once, and now this should be this cell, and I'll write it manually instead. 57, and then this should be 56. Okay. Some problem with my keyboard, I guess. 56, 55, 55, and then we have 54. You want enter, and now I'm getting this particular cell. All I have to do is just copy it for all of them, and I'll actually have to extend my X's here so that it's more dynamic, right? This cell is dependent on that. Now control shift right arrow, I've selected everything and just do control R, and you can see I'm getting information from this cell in this, 33.95 in this, 186.90 in this, and 314.75 in this one. Now it might seem a little complicated to you of whatever I'm doing, but you, as always, I will be very honest with you and I will tell you if it is complicated or if it is easy, because you need to emphasize more on the topics which are complicated. And now I have information from 2023 as well, right? But the problem that you might face is when we are actually writing these codes, these are very changing. So if I'm changing data from 23 to 24, we're getting closing price of 23. So before we actually do, go into the entire process of changing the years just the way I did, we actually need to copy these two rows in an Excel file. So now they are saved with us, right? That okay, in 750 stocks which we were researching on, they're right here in front of us, and this is 2023. Again, some problem with my keyboard. 2023, right? We want the same for 2024. It will be here. Let's say the stock price. I'm just saying a random example. Stock price was 3000, and what we're going to do is writing this divided by this and enter, and we have all the information in front of us now. Right now, again, we are having an error. For that, we'll be using if error. If this is showing an error, then give me nothing. Enter. Testing it once. Voila, working well. So I will just write it. Now, why we have zeros here? Because we have no information. Write random numbers. Right, and you will be able to get proper information here. Right now, it is the price change. Right, what is the exact percentage as a 1, and if I'm going to do -1, it is going to give me a better value. It is up by 16%. That's what is, this particular cell of 16% is telling me. I'm going to increase by 2 decimal places, and we need to create a sheet where we have all the information from 2022 until we have a time frame of 2014 till 2022, all the top 50 companies, and we need to get these price level increases for all of these, and then we have to create a proper sheet. Now the next thing which you might want to work on is that okay, these all things are actually given to you. You might again want all of them to be in a particular column instead of a single row, and you can do it again by actually using the same formula of paste special. Right now I haven't selected them. I have to just do Control C, if you can see, and then let's say I'm going here and then paste special, transpose, and okay, and now I have all of them. These rows can be figured out in the same way we actually we were working with odd and even functions, with something I will leave you to figure out. Otherwise, this is it. This is how we can actually fetch information from Google Finance from all the companies and create a very, very dynamic sheet. This is how you should work with Excel files all the time. Creating one cell on which the entire sheet is dependent, right? So let's say instead of this, I wanted only data from, oh, not one, I have month 1. So I will go with 3rd month, that is 1st of March. Everything will change altogether. It will take some time to load, as you can see on the screen. And here we go. Still loading. But you know what I mean. All of these got changed dynamically, automatically. Now selecting everything. and pasting it here. I have to copy this instead and then paste it. I have a reference issue, but the same way we actually did it in the last lecture. Oh, these are still loading. That's why I have a reference issue here. But that's exactly what you need to do in this lecture. You actually have to take information from all the 10 years and then create a proper Excel file. Now, this entire project, we only use 750 companies right now in the video, but I will be attaching a sheet where you can find all the companies all together so that you can work on your own Excel sheets. Right. So that would be it from this lecture. I hope you were able to just learn through this all 4 videos. If I have to summarize everything, we first learn how we can use Google Finance. Then we learn how we can use if statements and evod and even functions, concatenate functions, and paste special to transpose everything, and then we can have it in a particular row instead of a particular column. We solved the 3 issues, and then we actually created the Google Finance code, and we used the Google Finance code dynamically for all the 750 companies by anchoring. Once we had that, we actually learned in this particular lecture how we can use the if statements to get all the information of closing parentheses that we want. We need to do it for all the years as we have it, and then we have to paste all of them in our Excel sheet so that we have a repository that doesn't change as the time changes. So that would be it from my end. If you have any doubts, you can always contact me. If you have any feedback related to how, if there's a particular thing that I should add more in this lecture, then please let me know. I will love to help you out with almost everything I have under control. So that would be it. Thank you so much for joining me.